everybody. Welcome to Erndales. My name is Dale, and this is my YouTube channel, Erndales. And today is Wednesday, February the 1st. Oh my goodness sakes. So today I'm not going to do any crafting with you because my mind has been totally preoccupied with gardening for, well, actually for over a week, but for sure for a week. I have done a little bit of crafting, but I haven't really accomplished much except I have finished my January stitching journal, which I will show you next video. And I have also finished my friend's real journal, the garden journal, which I will also show you. And I've finished one sock. That's it. Not too productive in that way, but I have been doing a lot of seed things. And I've sent my orders to 3 different places for new seeds for the season. And I've been making plans for my garden. And so I've been doing this, that, and the other thing. And I've made a few separate videos. I'm going to put them all together in here. And it's going to be strictly about gardening. So if you're not interested in gardening, you can be excused from class. I started my YouTube channel originally probably 4 or 5 years ago because of my gardens. What I wanted to do when I started the YouTube channel, well, I'll tell you why. When we moved into this property, it was a massive big garden in one side. We have 2 yards, and at one side of the yard was most of it was one garden. And I started changing things. So I was taking video of my changes I also journal it too, but instead of making pictures and all this kind of thing, I would just take a video. And then, these videos were piling up and I thought, well, I'll put them on YouTube just privately. And then I'll have something to refer to like the next year, next spring, before I go and start digging things up that I already planted. I can go and look and see where I did what, and then I can go back and see my progress. And so that's how my YouTube channel actually started, was because of my garden. And I'm passionate about my garden. I totally am. It's one thing that I absolutely adore doing, is spending time working in the garden. It's not work to me. It's just solace and beauty and comfort and joy. So I have a lot of gardening videos on my channel. And I have them all in a playlist. If you are interested in seeing some of that progress over the years of my garden, from one big mud hole to where it might be now. Last year, I didn't get to take very much video because obviously I wasn't outside. I was recuperating from 2 surgeries and I didn't get much garden time in. But prior to that, I've done a lot. And this year I have tons and tons of plans. So go back and have a look at my progress if you're interested in it. But in the meantime, I've been digging in seeds and doing all this kind of stuff. So I have a couple of clips in here, and at the end I have a little 3-minute video with some music on some of my beautiful flowers. So enjoy this video, and I will see you again next week with crafting stuff. Hopefully I will be a little bit more productive than I have been this week. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye. It's a rather dull day here today. So I thought that I would get out some of the flowers that I cut last fall and dried. I left them sitting in a vase over there. And I'm saving seeds. So these are poppy seeds. This is the Laurel's grape poppy. It's beautiful purple poppy. If I can find a picture of it, I'll pop it in here for you. This is lupin, and I'm going to be popping these open and getting the seeds out of here. And this is, I can't remember what this is. I don't remember what this is called. But I'll put a piece of this in with the seeds. That way I'll know. I'll have to look in my book and see what they are. This is the seed right there. This is echinacea. There's a lot of seeds in here. And then over there, I had one zinnia flower. And this is all the seeds that I got from that one zinnia flower. So, you know, you can save yourself a lot of money if you save a couple of flowers and dry them. And then you get to spend a cloudy, dull day saving seeds. It's wonderful. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to pick out the seeds out of this one here. And I'll take you along. Good thing to have when you're doing this kind of a job is a good pair of tweezers and a little stick. And of course you want some kind of a little envelope to put your seeds in. So here we go. The echinacea seeds are very easy to spot. You can even see them. See all the little white or the little beige things? Those are all seeds, so they're very easy to spot. And there's lots in here. See, that's one. It's an obvious seed. You can see how easy these are. And this particular bunch have been drying for, I've had this in this thing for a couple of years, so these will be really good and dry. This is a wonderful way of saving money. And I have found that really a lot of times these grow better than the ones that you buy. I've been doing this ever since, even before, even when I lived in the city I did this. I turned my front lawn into a perennial garden, and I spent very little money. I bought plants initially, especially the perennials if I found them, but I waited usually till the end of season, and I would buy the plants then. But I bought one plant, and then I saved seeds, and I grew more plants, and I just kept adding to my plants that way by saving seeds, and then also by dividing them up. And before you know it, I had a huge, beautiful perennial garden that actually cost me very little money, quite a bit of time, but that's the joy of gardening, is the time that you spend doing it. So yeah, there's lots of seeds here. And I have several colors of echinacea. This is the pink one. A couple of years I lost a lot of them. We had a really difficult winter. It was not much snow cover, and a lot of the echinaceas froze. They just didn't survive the winter. So I have big, huge beds of different colors of them. I have these ones, and then I have the Cheyenne. What are they called? Cheyenne something or other. They're sort of an orangey color. They're beautiful. I love them. So I've got some flowers from them. I'm going to harvest them too. And the lupin I bought last year, and it had just maybe 2 flower spikes on it and not very many flowers. So I grabbed those flowers right away because I knew that I wanted to start some more. And the lupin is a hot pink. I mean hot pink. It's it's crazy hot pink. So I'm going to try and grow some from the seeds. I don't see why I won't be able to, because I'd like to have a nice patch of lupins, and I'd like to add some other colors to them as well. So I will have to keep my eye out for some more lupins. But really, I don't mind starting perennials by seed. They take a long time to get going, but that's fine. I don't mind, taking the time to sow these things. And actually, the perennial seeds that I sow help me get to spring, because I sow them early because I can, and it gives me a little some gardening to do in before spring, which is just wonderful. So this is I'm going to get 1 million seeds just from one tiny little. It was about, I can find a single one. It was about that size, which is small. From all that, I'm going to have, probably 1,000 seeds in here. So that's what I'm doing today. Wonderful activity to do on a winter day. Makes you think about spring. Here's a little trick with the echinacea to get the seeds out. They're very prickly. You don't want to be pushing on them. You can actually get slivers from these things. So what I do is I just take a paper towel and I just push down on this. And it opens itself up, and you can see all the seeds there. And once you get some of it off, then you can pull the rest off. But these things can be really prickly. So that kind of saves your fingers a little bit. When we first moved onto this property, it'll be 8 years in July. The whole backyard, pretty much the whole thing, was a vegetable garden. Apparently, the previous owners grew potatoes. They must have had enough potatoes for the county, because there was a big, huge garden. And I worked it that way for a couple of years, but it was, at the time, I thought it was much too much for 2 people, and it was actually. And it was a lot of back-breaking work. So I cut the garden in half, and I started a perennial bed along one side, and then the other side I had the vegetable garden. And then, after several years of using half that garden as a vegetable garden, I cut it in half again. And it's actually now in half again. I'm using such a small area, but I'm producing the same amount of vegetables. You don't actually need to have a full yard of a garden to produce enough food for yourself. There's other ways to do it. I bought an arch. It's actually considered a squash arch, but I grow beans on it. I grow all kinds of things on it. Anything that climbs goes on there. Cucumbers. It's quite a large arch, so I get quite a bit of things on it. And that cuts down on the amount of space that you need for your garden. So I now have a pretty good sized garden and for vegetables, and I have a beautiful large perennial bed that is really coming along very nicely. My aim is for like a cottage garden look, and it's already looking that way. And I just started that perennial bed 2 years ago, and it's really looking great. So there's more work to be done on it. I still have more plants to put in it, because there's a lot of spaces, and I don't want any spaces, because when you have spaces, you have weeds, and I don't want weeds. So I do plant annuals in there as well. And then I also have a large fruit bed. I added fruit to one part of the garden where there was none. There was no fruit at all. So I have raspberries, I have currants, I have strawberries. Um, I'm toying with the idea of putting a couple of apple trees in there, even though I know it takes like 3 years before you get a harvest. But I don't know. I'm thinking about it. The thing is, there's a lot of apples in this community. Everybody has apple trees, and everybody has a glut of apples in fall. So, as much as I would like to have an apple tree, I don't know if I need to have an apple tree, and I don't know if I want to wait 3 years before I can actually harvest. So, that's where I am with that. But yeah, so the property, the yard, and this is all on the north side of our house. And over the years, I've struggled with tomatoes. And there's still a lot of sun there because there's nothing blocking the way of the sun. But tomatoes just don't seem to grow so well there. So this year, I'm building some raised beds on the south side of our house because we have another yard. Our house is in the middle, and we have a yard on either side, and they're equally as large. They're very large portions. So on the south side of the house, I'm going to put some raised beds, and I think I'm going to put all my hot things in there, like tomatoes and peppers and things that like it nice and hot. That's where I'm going to grow those things. And then that will free me up with more space on the other side for more things like squash and cucumbers and the cooler things. So it evolves. It is constantly changing, my garden, and that's what I love about it. But the perennial garden I'm leaving over where I have it because the perennials seem to really love it there. And the other thing I noticed is that the perennial garden is close enough to the vegetable garden that I get so many pollinators. It's done wonders to have all those flowers so close to the vegetable garden. They're not side by side, but they're very close, and the vegetable garden has really flourished because of the perennial garden. So, anyway, this one I've cleaned all these up. Oh, there's quite a bit in here. I don't think you can see how many, but that's quite a bit of seeds. This is a large envelope. Oh, there's another one. There's a couple more over here. Don't want to waste a one. It's that time of year to go through seeds in order to order new ones or more, or see what I have. I store all my seeds in this old tin bread box, and I keep it down in the cold room. In our basement, we have a cold room where it's an unheated area. It's got shelves, and that's where I keep my seeds. So I have 2 boxes. This is all flowers, and actually most of this is flower seed that I have saved myself. So I've gone through this. I know what's in here. What I want to do now is there's going to be a seed exchange next weekend, and I want to go through here and make up some packets of seeds to exchange for other ones. I've got mostly delphiniums. I have lots of Shasta daisy. I have echinacea. What else do I have in here? I have some hollyhock. There's a lot of Gloriosa daisies, rudbeckia. So I'm going to get rid of quite a bit of this, I hope, at the seed exchange, and maybe I'll get new seeds. These are mostly perennials in here. And this is my vegetable garden box. These are all beans, corn, all of this is the other vegetables. And as I'm going through, I'm making a list of what I have and what I need. And I can, as you can see, that belongs to this column. I have more than I need. So this is just, if I see these and they're at a good price, I'll pick them up. Otherwise, I won't. And these I will pick up for sure. So I'm making my list so that I can go through my catalogs. I have 3 that I use, and send my order in, because I'm hearing that the suppliers are running out of seeds already, especially the ones where people are mailing in their orders and stuff, which is how a lot of people out here in the country do it. They have these. Well, I'll show you the catalogs that I use. So in Manitoba, we have T&T Seeds. That's from Winnipeg, and they've been in business for a long, long time, 78 years, or this is their 78th edition. So I order a lot of their product, because they're very good at choosing varieties that are native, or not native, but that will grow in Manitoba's climate. We have a very short growing season, late frost, early frost, late frost in summer or spring, and early frost in fall. And a lot of their varieties kind of deal with that. So I order a lot from T&T Seeds. And then the other 2, there's another one. This is also native to Manitoba. This is Lindenberg Seeds from Brandon, Manitoba. And again, they have a lot of, most of their varieties are very good for our climate. So these 2 are my sort of go-tos. But then there's Vessi Seeds, and they are out of Nova Scotia? No, PE, Charlottetown, PEI. And their stuff is wonderful. They actually have a lot of bulbs. They have another whole catalog just with bulbs. But their climate is a much different than ours. So unless I'm ordering an annual, which an annual is an annual as far as I'm concerned, if I'm ordering annuals, I will order them from here. I have ordered my little structure. I'll show it to you. I ordered from this catalog, and we put it together, and that was like 6 or 7 years ago, and it's fine. The wind has twisted it up a bit, but we strengthened it up. And I grow on my structure. I'll show it to you in here. I grow morning glories, cucumbers, pole beans, anything that goes up. It's actually a squash structure. Here it is here, this Titan squash structure. I only paid $80 some for it a few years ago. It's $124.95 now, but it's worth the money. Everything that you can grow anything that climbs on there. So it's very good for things like cucumbers and squash and pole beans. You don't have to bend to pick anything. You just reach up and pick it off the thing. And I always put flowers with it. So I have morning glories on here with it. So it's a riot of color, and yet it still is also, it's well pollinated because of all the flowers, but yet it still produces food. So it's really nice. But what I'm really interested in here is they have a variety of calendula. This here, is this the one? This calendula that I want. I want to make calendula salve. Most of the calendulas that I grow are like this, but I want the longer petal ones to make the salve, so I'm going to be ordering these. And I love calendula. They're such a happy flower. I might order a few packages of all of these. So that's my next task. I just have this envelope to go through now, and I have a feeling that most of this will be empty. Maybe not. These are flowers. And then I'm going to send my order in today, and happy days. Gardening might be here. I found some rosemary. I lost my rosemary last year. Rosemary does not overwinter in our yards. You have to bring it in. And I had a huge one, and It was a perennial rosemary, but you still have to bring them in. You have to put them in a pot and bring them in if you want to keep it, because they will not overwinter here. And I had a huge one, and I thought it was big enough, and if I covered it with enough really good protection, it would overwinter. And I tried that last winter to last spring, or the winter before to last spring, and it was gone in the spring. It froze. So I'm going to start a new one, and I have a few seeds in here. I see. I didn't know that I had these, so I'm going to start them now, because by the time these mature enough to be put outside, it'll be June. Like, they're very slow to get going. So I'm actually going to sow these today. I'm excited. I can actually put my finger in some dirt, especially when it looks like this outside. There's the arch out there. I'll see if I can pop you up a little closer. See, there it is. And in the wintertime, I use it. We have lights on it all year round, little twinkling lights that come on. They're on a solar. But in the wintertime, I hang bird feeders from it, and the birds are in there. And actually, the birds seed a lot of things around there too. I have all kinds of sunflowers and things popping up in spring because of the bird feeders. So yeah, that's my little arch, and I have a path that goes through it, and it's a lovely little accent piece on my property, and it's also very useful. I'm growing food on it and having beautiful flowers. So that's what I'm doing today.